Thanks for tuning into High on Horror. I'm Drew.
And I'm John. This episode and every future episode is dedicated to the horror hounds and smokers out there who want to expand their knowledge of the genre and have a good time. I mean, we've reviewed a lot of newer movies here lately, but, every once in a while it's nice to go back and revisit a classic, especially a slasher classic from the boom in the 80s, like we are today.
I agree, and that's right. Today we're going back to 1982 to review Girls Nite Out, aka The Scaremaker. It's a college slasher film that's a lot of fun. And with us again today, we have the lovely Lauren Marie Taylor, who has a starring role in the film.
To quote Billy Mays, but wait, there's more.
That's right. Lauren Marie Taylor's co-star in the film and real-life husband, John Didrichsen, is in the house as well. They're going to spill their guts to us in an exclusive interview. All that and more today on High on Horror. Interviews, reviews, and the latest news all rolled into one. Now, we got to kick this show off right the way we do every week. We definitely need to get into Strain Wreck. What are we smoking this week, John?
So, we got us some cherry pie. It's about middle of the road, THC-wise, 16%. It's, flavor and aromas berry. And, its parents, it's a cross of Granddaddy Perp and F1 Derb. I'm not familiar with F1 Derb, but...
No, me neither.
I am a big fan of Granddaddy Perp. With that, the buds, they're dense and full of orange hairs with a touch of purple. And the hybrid strain smells of sweet and sour cherry pie. I've never heard of sweet and sour cherry pie.
No, me neither.
I've heard of cherry pie. Adding a song.
It does smell good, though.
The effects have been known to come on in minutes and stick around for a couple hours. Well, we'll see about that couple hours. I guess we never really test it because we just keep getting higher and higher.
It's true.
Oh, there you go. See, you already laughing. That's number one effect, giggly. Giggly, happy, and euphoric. What are the negatives? Dry eyes, dry mouth, and paranoid.
I thought you were going to save dry mouth for last.
Dry mouth? It was listed second. It's usually always listed last, but now it's got paranoid. You'll think a bear with the claws trying to get you.
Well, while we smoke, I wanted to bring up the new horror film that's coming out, the Christmas horror film, The Mean One, the unofficial Grinch horror film. It's coming to theaters December 9th, and Art the Clown actor David Howard Thornton is playing the Grinch, and he looks awesome. I think either this is going to be completely cheesy like Santa's Sleigh, and I'm going to love it, or it's going to be like overly brutal. Either way, I think that we're going to be there to see it.
Oh, we definitely will. I mean, I don't know if this sounds offensive, but I can just... David Howard Thornton looks like the Grinch. I feel like it's going to be a good fit. Be better than him and the Grinch and Jim Carrey.
Yeah, it's I feel like David Howard Thornton might be like the new Doug Jones. He's being asked to do all the like body movement characters where there's not like he's forced to use his body a lot and act with his body. That's pretty cool. But so Steve Lamort is directing it, and he and the producers are hoping that they actually don't get sued releasing this movie because the Grinch is not public domain like Winnie the Pooh is. Hence the new Winnie the Pooh film, Blood and Honey, that's coming out. That's all good. That shit's that's up for grabs, but the Grinch is not public domain.
I was wondering why I thought maybe it was, and that's why they were making it. But the Winnie the Pooh one you brought up, if the director for some reason is listening to that, I have been trying to get a hold of you. I want to talk about this movie. Yeah, I want to see it so bad.
I'm in, man. I want to see it too. And but in this case, with The Mean One, the producers are hoping that by calling it a parody that they don't get sued. That's basically all they're relying on. They've made this movie
is that like,
all in the hopes that they don't get their asses sued off because they're calling it a parody.
Is that like with like the Friday the 13th fan films? It's a fan film, so that's why they're hoping not to get sued.
I guess, man. Technically, I don't know, but it's the Grinch is the Grinch. I don't know. Good luck with that.
Hopefully it all works out. A horror version of the Grinch, I was like, why did nobody think of this?
Yeah, people are probably too scared to do it, but I'm down to check it out either way. I mean, regardless of what happens with it legally,
we'll get David
see
on again.
Oh yeah, for sure. We're gonna talk to him about it, no question. But I think now it's time to get into horror history.
Horror hiss?
This week in horror history.
All right, we got a lot of horror history coming up this week. On December 5th, that's today, King Kong 2005 turned 17.
The Peter Jackson one, man.
I saw
was a
that
good
in
one.
theaters. I liked it.
Yeah, that's really good.
By my dad, it was a hardcore... nothing was as good as the original King Kong to him.
Yeah, I understand.
I went and saw it with him, and I asked him what he thought. I was like, I really liked it. He went, it was okay. Man Beast turned 66.
Wow.
And then we got some birthdays today. Tamara Feldman from born 1980, 42. She's been in Bloodwork, Alice Kills, Supernatural TV series, and Hatchet.
Oh, yeah. Hatchet.
I've not seen Supernatural.
Yeah, we've talked about it before.
Yeah.
Supernatural seasons 1 through 5 are fucking great.
And 1976, Amy Acker turns 46. She's been in Cabin in the Woods, the Grimm TV series. She was also in Supernatural and the Angel TV series.
She's hot as hell, man. Amy Acker is hot.
And 1968, Lisa Marie, 54. Been in Ed Wood, Mars Attacks, Sleepy Hollow, the Burden remake of Planet of the Apes.
Oh, that piece of shit.
And then we have a birthday from 1890. Director Fritz Lang would have been 132. His films, silent classic Metropolis, 1931 version of M, starring Peter Lorre and Siegfried. But got to include him.
Of course.
December 6th, from 1966, Donald Pleasance was in this. Eye of the Devil turns 56.
56, damn.
And we have a birthday from 1900. Agnes Moorehead would have been 122. I mean, she played Endora on Bewitched. She was on some episode of Twilight Zone, The Invaders. She was in the films The Bat with Vincent Price.
Right, yeah, that's right. You're right.
And Hush Hush, Sweet Charlotte.
I remember The Bat. That's right, yeah. I forgot she was in that somehow.
December 7th, we got a lot today. Well, we only have two movies. Village of the Damned from 1960.
John Carpenter's was better.
I mean, yeah. It turned 62. House of Dracula from 1945, 77 years ago.
God damn.
And now get it into some birthdays here. In 1979, turning 43, Jennifer Carpenter. From Devil's Hammock, you probably know her from Dexter or Quarantine or The Exorcism of Emily Rose.
Man, she's a good horror actress, man. Like, she does really good at horror, for real. Like, in Quarantine and Emily Rose, like, she should do more roles playing, like, someone vulnerable in a horror situation. She fucking is so compelling when she does those roles.
When I first saw Emily Rose, that movie fucked me up.
Dude, what movie was it? I think it might have been Dragged Across Concrete. It was something. It was that, or it was the Mel Gibson movie. I can't remember. It was one of the movies you made me watch where she was in it briefly, and she gets her fucking head blown off. You know what I'm talking about? What movie was that? I can't remember which one that was.
Brawl in Cell Block 99?
Yeah, dude, that shit was crazy. I thought she was going to have a serious role in the movie. I did not expect it to go like that. Sorry.
Another birthday, 1979, turning 43, Ayako Fujitana. He starred in the classics Gamera, Guardian of the Universe, Gamera 2, Assault of the Legion, and Gamera 3, The Awakening of Isis. ISIS? Like, the people in the Middle East? Is Gamera responsible for them?
Did he awaken them?
1976, 46 years old actor, writer, producer Mark Duplass. I first became familiar with him from a show called The League.
Right, I haven't seen that.
It's hilarious. You gotta check it out. Even if you don't like sports, it's still hilarious because you can relate to like the friend group aspect. But he was in The Lazarus Effect, Manson Family Vacation, Bad Milo, Black Rock, and probably my favorite, Creep.
Yeah. Creep is awesome.
And 1967, turning 55, we have Danny Hassel. He co-starred in A Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master, and also Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child. He didn't get the best of sequels, but hey, you were in A Nightmare on Elm Street, so.
That's right.
1966, turning 56, we have C. Thomas Howell. He was in E.T., The 2009 version of The Land That Time Forgot, War of the Worlds 2, The Hitcher. He played the serial killer, Kenneth Bonacci in The Hillside Strangler.
No shit. Yeah, that's right. I see Thomas Howell. Actually, I had to, the name wasn't coming to me. I'm sorry, the face. So I just Googled him, and like I just 100%. I know this guy. Yeah, he's in Hell High, that slasher film I was just watching. Yeah.
A birthday from 1915, 107. Eli Wallach. He was in The Sentinel, The Deep, and the TV movie The Chill Factor. And finally, we got our last birthday. I told you today was a lot of birthdays. 1874, would have been 148 years old. Harry Stubbs, who appeared in The Wolfman, Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman, and The Mummy's Hand.
Excellent.
And moving on here to December 8th, we have Blade Trinity. Came out in 2004, 18 years ago.
18 years ago, man. Do you remember when that movie came out? It does not feel like 18 years ago.
I remember when it came out. I never really was in the Blade when it was actually in theaters. I've seen them since, but...
Well, this was unfortunately
But I remember when it was coming out.
This was the worst one.
That's the Triple H one, right?
Yeah, I still and the Ryan Reynolds one. I still enjoy it, but it's the worst one. But 18 years is just, man, I'm just feeling older every fucking episode we do. We got to stop this horror history. It's hurting my self-esteem.
And since, I had to bring up Gamera, I threw one in here for you. 1971 is, but it was made in 1969, Godzilla's Revenge. But it was made in 1969 as, and I'm going to butcher this, Gojira Manira Gabara Ora Kaju Daisha. I can't, there's no way I'm getting that last one.
Yeah, that's it's most commonly known as All Monsters Attack, but Godzilla's Revenge was always my favorite title for it. And
51 years ago. And now get into the birthdays. We have Tyler Mane, 1966, 56 years old. Obviously, Rob Zombie's Halloween 1 and 2. X-Men, Compound Fracture.
And more.
1950. Have to include this person just because of the movies they did. Multiple Oscar award-winning makeup and effects artist Rick Baker turned 72. His numerous credits include Star Wars, The Howling, Men in Black, The Ring, X-Men Last Stand, and the 2010 remake of The Wolfman.
And, of course, An American Werewolf in London.
Yep.
Yeah, crazy. Dude's a fucking beast.
1947 birthday, David Schmoller, 75, writer-director of such films as Tourist Trap, Crawl Space, Catacombs, Puppet Master, The Arrival. Isn't that the movie Josh says isn't good?
Yeah.
Dude, The Arrival's a good movie, Josh. It's higher than a 3.3. Netherworld and more.
No, that's a pretty good resume, though, actually. Tourist Trap, Crawl Space, Catacombs, Puppet Master, Arrival.
Yeah, definitely The Arrival.
Definitely a good resume.
Would have been 86, 1936, David Carradine. Obviously most known for Kung Fu, but he was also in Death Race 2000, Q, and Sundown, The Vampire in Retreat.
And he was also in Dead and Breakfast, a horror comedy that I love, and I think that was one of his last roles. He was fucking hilarious in that. And
we're moving on to the 9th. 34 years ago, 1988, Troma's War.
Okay.
Troma's War is okay.
Yeah, it's okay. It's decent.
Some of the people that are really into Troma, I just don't get it. They're okay.
So some people love those fuck you movies, and I get it too. But I also enjoy watching good movies. So it's
Tromas are okay to throw on once in a while.
Yeah.
From 1983, turning 39, we have Christine. We've talked about it numerous times.
John Carpenter, Stephen King.
Yeah.
There's enough said.
I think that's what we've said before. At birthdays, we just got a lot of older birthdays. 1929, John Cassavetes, 93, starred in Rosemary's Baby and The Fury.
Yeah, The Fury, man. His head blowing up in The Fury is wild.
1928, Dick Van Patten, 94. I was in Psychomania, Westworld. They have been, they are, they will be episode of Kolchak the Night Stalker.
Kolchak, okay. Love Kolchak.
1902, Is it fair to say the most famous witch in all of cinema?
Yeah, I would say so.
Margaret
sure.
Hamilton would have been 120. She starred in The Wizard of Oz, obviously.
Yeah.
The Invisible Woman, 13 Ghosts, The Night Strangler. Have you seen? Somebody finally found that it was lost for the longest time. There was an episode of Sesame Street that she did.
You showed me that. You said you shared that to me on Facebook. Yeah,
that
was
shit
awesome.
was. I can see why they only aired it once. I think it's on. Well, I found it on Reddit, but
Well, you found it creepy.
I can understand why kids would have found it creepy. Like
yeah.
For anybody who doesn't know, she was trying to repair her image because she was actually a school teacher before, and she had reservations about taking the role of the Wicked Witch of the West because she thought the kids wouldn't like her, and she was right. So she was trying to repair her image and went on Sesame Street, and just the way it's edited, they only aired it once because kids were like terrified. And you watch it as an adult, and it's not like scary, but I can imagine being a 2 or 3 year old kid and like watching this. And like watching Sesame Street, but you might be able to find it on Reddit. It was a lost episode until earlier this year. Somebody had it on VHS and it only ever aired once.
Well, I would have to agree with you, though, going back to what you said. I think Margaret Hamilton is like the quintessential like witch. Like when you think of like cinematic movie witches, like she's the one in Technicolor with that, with the fucking broom and shit. Like, yeah, man, the Wicked Witch of the West is the witch in my opinion, for sure.
And moving on to December 10th, the only thing we have here is a birthday from 1928. Would have been 94. Chilly Billy Cardille. He was the field reporter in the original Night of the Living Dead, Day of the Dead, Night of the Living Dead, from 1990 and Living. Yeah.
Okay. Chilly Billy.
Chilly Billy, no. And then finally wrapping up the week, December 11th. 24 years old, 1998, The Dentist Part 2. I just recently rewatched The Dentist again, even though we just, had an episode on it a couple months ago. I was just like, it's weird. I can't watch the actual TC. I mean, I can watch them, but when I watch it casually, I'm like, I'm not going to watch that, especially the 2. It's when he has the kid in the original one.
Yeah.
And then, when he has the neighbor's tooth and he's just like hollowing it out.
Oh yeah, the female when he's just like drilling. Yeah, man, that shit's brutal.
But we had The Dentist too.
You want to know what we have to think about what we think about The Dentist too? Listen to our episode about The Dentist too.
73, born in 1949, Terry Garr from Young Frankenstein and Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
All right.
And closing out our horror history would have been the 100th birthday of the late Vampira, the horror hostess who appeared in Plan 9 from Outer Space. All right, so I guess it's time to get on to that PPA.
Yo, man. Puff, puff, pass.
All right, now it's time for Puff Puff Ask, the segment of our show where we answer questions that you listeners send in to us at High on Horror 420 on social media or our website or email at highonhorror420@gmail.com. I'm going to go first. So our producer, Josh's wife, Kristen, actually reached out in regards to Barbarian and said, quote, "My question is, what the fuck?" I liked the movie. I won't say too much. Kristen, listen to our review episode that your hubby edited. We probably cover your what the fuck in there.
Yeah, I was going to say, Barbarian, when you say what the fuck, like,
which time?
What the fuck are you talking about? Or which what the fuck are you talking about? Because there's a lot of what the fuck moments in that movie.
Agreed.
And getting in here, Donna, I don't have a place for her wherever. Just Donna. So Donna, you asked it. Now other people know you asked it. What 2023 movie has you the most excited? I was going to say definitely the new Scream movie.
It's like, I know for you that's a joke.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to see it, but yeah. We'll
so
see
far,
it.
there's not really like a whole lot. I mean, I know you're going to say it, but Evil Dead Rises.
Yeah. Evil Dead Rise. Yeah.
Oh man, I got a question for you because I think probably both of our expectations have turned on this from what we thought about.
I know what you're gonna say.
What?
David Gordon Green's
Yes!
The Exorcist. I have no interest.
Oh, man.
I'll wait till it hits video. Hopefully that shit hits Peacock for free, like the Halloween movies did.
Oh,
He's convinced me that he does not know how to make a good fucking scary movie.
is David Gordon Green? Has he worked himself into like the D&D from Game of Thrones, where you're like, this shit's awesome, and then at the end you go, what the fuck, you suck.
David Gordon Green's in Eli Roth and Rob Zombie territory.
But he did make Pineapple Express, my guy.
Yeah.
Stoner classic. I'll give him that. Some other ones, I'm just going to run off some here. Because I know Evil Dead Rises was your big one. And
Yeah.
what was your other one?
Megan.
Okay. Saw 10.
No,
They're not going to call it Saw 10. You know they're not going to call it Saw 10.
No.
Tobin Bell back, though. Dude, like after Saw 3, the only good parts about those movies are, I guess the traps are cool still, but the actress that plays Jill Tuck, the dude that plays Hoffman, and any scenes Tobin Bell gets to be in, that's the only good things of those, like after number 3. Well, Jigsaw was ass.
Right.
I haven't even seen Spiral.
Well, going back to Megan real quick, I just wanted to say something that it's not directed by Megan's not directed by James Wan. It's directed by Gerard Johnstone, but James Wan produced it, and I thought it was funny.
And he came up with the idea for it.
Yeah, and I thought it was funny what he said because he's known for Billy the Puppet and Saw. Okay, he was a homage to Billy the Puppet and Dario Argento's Deep Red, and then he's got the Mary Shaw. There's Billy the Puppet and Mary Shaw, and then there's Annabelle, and he was like, I have all these movies with killer dolls in them, but the dolls aren't actually the killer. So maybe it's time we do a movie where the doll's actually the killer. And I was like, yeah, I'm in. Fuck it, let's do it.
Another big name director has a movie coming out, Knock at the Cabin, in February.
Oh yeah, that looks with Dave Bautista. I walk alone.
I walk for miles inside this pit of danger. But
and then he looks like he's taking a shit on stage and there's fireworks popping off the back of him.
M. Night's really hit or miss for me though.
Agreed. No, yeah, being all seriousness, yeah. M. Night, he's like, some of his movies are fucking phenomenal, and then some of them are just like, yeah. The Visit was his last great movie, in my opinion. The Visit was good, man.
How about Renfield?
The Nicolas Cage movie. I'm gonna watch it. I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
It's not on my must watch list, but it'll get watched.
We got Evil Dead Rises. Oh, is that? Oh, comes out about a week before my birthday. I think I know what I'm doing.
April. Yeah.
Yeah. Insidious 5.
I like the Insidious movies. I'll check them out.
Let's see. What
check
else?
it out.
What else we got here? The Haunted Mansion with Tiffany Haddish.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
The Nun 2.
No.
Salem's Lot.
Yes. Yeah, that's gonna be a good one.
It's not coming out. It doesn't seem like it's coming out next year, but I am excited for when Eggers drops Nosferatu. The only thing I'm a little upset about is that Bill Skarsgård is going to end up being Nosferatu, and it's not because I think he'll do a bad job. I think he'll do a good job. But originally it was supposed to be Willem Dafoe, and I think Willem Dafoe would have absolutely fucking killed it.
He'd have looked way more fucking creepy, man.
I know, man.
Jesus, he'd have looked creepy as fuck.
I still think Bill will do a good job, but man, I really, really think Willem Dafoe would have did a good job.
Yeah, he would have. I agree.
So yeah, I think that probably just wraps up what we got for movies.
All right, so let's get into our review of Girls Nite Out.
All right, Girls Nite Out is a 1982 slasher film written and directed by Anthony N. Gervis. Written and produced by Anthony N. Gervis and directed by Robert Dubell. It stars Julia Montgomery, Laura Marie Taylor, John Didrichsen, and Hal Holbrook. Call him Halbrook.
Fox, by the way, spent no money on advertising for this movie. No money. And they only promoted it as a slasher film and not a comedy, which is pretty interesting.
I would say so when you say that, because my dad, I remember there's so many like just obscure movies that I can't remember from the 80s and 90s horror-wise that he just put on, and I know that they couldn't have had much budget in advertising, and we never once watched Girls Nite Out, so like
right.
I feel like this would have been a good movie for him to like show to a kid. It's it's kind of on the tamer side for kids. But,
yeah, I would agree with that.
yeah, so I believe that there was probably no promotion into this. And before we get into the movie, look, this is going to have spoilers throughout. We're not going to like try to protect it. Like, if you haven't seen this movie by now, first, shame on you. And second, we're not going to separate them today. So if you haven't watched it, go watch it and you can come back. We're not even having a spoilers jingle this week or anything.
Nope, we're going right into it. But before we do, I just want to mention did you notice how the cover girl isn't even of the original cover? The cover girl isn't even in the movie. None of the girls featured on the posters.
It's clearly Lauren Marie Taylor, but she never once has those earrings on in the movie.
No. I'm not talking about the era video artwork. I'm saying the original cover where it's the white cover.
Yeah. The white cover.
Yeah, the cover girl's not even in the movie, and none of the girls on the posters or anything, any marketing, none of them are actually in the movie. So that's one of the things that's fucking really interesting.
I guess in the new one, that character's not in the movie either. I mean, it looks like Laura Marie Taylor, but she never once has those earrings on.
Yeah,
during
they
the
added
movie.
those earrings for sure.
Because I even remember you and I both got it on the Arrow video set.
Yeah.
I have the Scaremaker cover. I think that's the only difference between our versions.
Yeah, I think you got the store exclusive one, yeah.
But yeah, like I saw the cover and I made a point and I was like, nobody is wearing those earrings in this movie. And you see the kill later in the movie and you're like, okay, that's Sheila Laura Marie Taylor. But
and with the bear outside the window, you're like, that's the scene.
Yeah, it's the scene. But there's these giant ass yellow earrings on the cover, and nobody in that movie ever wears those.
Yep.
Anyway, starting off the movie, we start out with a suicide. Psych patient Dickie Cavanaugh hangs himself in Weston Hills Sanitarium in rural Ohio. I wonder if this is like the same Weston Hills from Nightmare on Elm Street series. This, did come out before Dream Warriors, so this would have been first. Like Wes Craven, do that. And this isn't really the only connection you can make to Nightmare on Elm Street. We'll get in. The killer uses a claw. This came out
before the first New Nightmare. This came out before. This came out before the first Nightmare on Elm Street movie, let alone Dream Warriors, and it predates the first one. And the bear has 4 claws. So we're like, wait, so we have a killer with 4 claws, and like you just pointed out, the Weston Hills, which is funny because I've seen the movie several times, and for some reason the Weston Hills thing never clicked with me. And you said you Googled it online and couldn't find nothing. I'm like, I don't know what it is. I don't know, but I caught the whole 4-blade thing, and I'm like, I think that kind of predates Freddy. And then you just pointed out the Weston Hills thing, and I'm like, he's fucking right. Like, it's for some reason that always went over my head, but Weston Hills and 4 blades. Maybe Wes Craven watched this movie, man.
And the Weston Hills didn't pop in my head until I rewatched this. And like I told you, I went online to Google it. Granted, I did like maybe a 2-3 minute search. I just Googled like Girls Nite Out, Weston Hills, Freddy. And I saw people making the connection of, the claw, the bear claw.
Yeah.
But like I didn't see anybody talking about Weston Hills, and for some reason that is just like I told you, some weird horror fact that just stuck in my head that I just remember Weston Hills as the fucking sanitarium. Now, to defend Wes Craven, he did always say that Freddy was based on something, from our earliest days of man, and, he thought of a bear claw. But maybe he saw this and subconsciously some of it worked its way in.
Yeah, I don't know, Weston Hills and the four blades. Some would say that's a quinky dink. Some would say to look into that.
Earth's flat. Okay, I don't really believe that before somebody takes me seriously. Anyway, Dickie's sister gives permission to the 2 gravediggers to bury his body. While they're digging a hole for Dickie's body, they're attacked and murdered by an unseen killer who throws their corpse into the burial plot.
Now, this first kill is very Jallo-esque because
Yeah.
it's pre-mascot bear wearing, like no costume. It's just a gloved killer coming out of the bushes doing a pretty nasty slaughter. Had to make sure I threw my Jallo in there, man.
You do be jallowing. And then next we go to DeWitt University. The basketball team wins the chip, and they go to celebrate. And to celebrate, an all-night scavenger hunt's going to take place the next night for the ladies. Like, I don't understand how that benefits the team. Like, it just won the championship. Like, it's a weird idea for a celebration. I guess maybe it's because the cheerleaders were there helping the team win. I mean, I feel like I'm reaching for the exact reason of the men's basketball team won the championship, so as a reward, the women are going to get a scavenger hunt.
I mean, yeah, that's a hell of a way to that's a hell of an award.
Yeah,
That's a hell of a way to put it, to word it.
The men's basketball team won, and the ladies, for them winning, get a scavenger hunt. Whatever. I mean, it gets our movie going here. And then Lynn Connors, played by Julia Montgomery, and her boyfriend, basketball player Teddy Ratliff, played by James Carroll, celebrate the victory at a campus diner. Lynn, Teddy, and other students attend a party that evening where they tell the story of Dickie to the freshmen who were unaware of his recent death, which I think you'd have to because it was like pretty recent.
Yeah.
They almost tell like a ghost story, almost kind of like when they talk about Jason in part 2.
Yeah.
Another Marie Taylor movie, but I mean, it's kind of the same thing. They kind of like tell it like a ghost story. And they say that Dickie murdered his girlfriend Patty in a jealous rage, and then they put him away in Weston Hills. And now it's Lynn's turn to get jealous because she doesn't like how Teddy has the hots for Dawn Sorensen, played by Suzanne Barnes. Mark Pryor, he's played by David Holbrook, the son of Hal Holbrook, who's also in the movie. He doesn't seem to fit in with the group. He just really seems like the outcast and misfit.
Yeah.
He gets into a loud argument with his girlfriend, Sheila, who's played by one of today's guests, Laura Marie Taylor. And soon the school mascot, Michael Benson, played by Matthew Dunn, is stabbed to death in his dorm room after arriving back from the party. And then the bear mascot costume is stolen. So we're up to 3 kills before we finally get to the...
We're just getting started, yeah. Classic early 80s
there's a lot
slasher.
of characters in this movie. And the next day, Mike's questioned by campus security officer Jim McVeigh, who's played by Hal Holbrook, over the fight with Sheila. We find out McVeigh's daughter was the Patty from the Dickie Cavanaugh story. And later that evening, they put the campus radio DJ in charge of giving out the clues for the scavenger hunt. While the girls are listening on portable radios, the killer's prowling the campus in the bear costume. And the bear, like we said again, he adds a claw to the outfit, and it's very Freddy-like.
It's brutal too, man. Those fucking blades are nasty. Like it looks like a very, very brutal. It adds the mascot costume looks kind of goofy, but those blades add that serious. Like that's what it needed, that oh shit element to it. And that's exactly what it is, because you don't want to be getting scratched by this Teddy fucking Ruxpin.
They're not as long as Freddy's, but they'd be girthy. They're definitely like some thick ass blades.
For sure.
And Jane, played by Laura Summer, finds the first clue in the girls' locker room. She takes the lead, but at what cost? That cost is going to be having her throat brutally sliced while being called misogynistic slurs. So maybe shouldn't have got that first clue.
Yeah, right.
Not
Tough
long
luck.
after that, another girl, Kathy, played by Carrick Glenn, finds Jane's body crudely strung up in the locker room showers. Kathy also ends up with a slashed throat for her troubles. The DJ at the radio station begins receiving phone calls from the killer, who's tallying his victims, and the killer also calls Officer McVeigh and claims to be Dickie. Sheila now goes down to the pond and search for another item and runs into the bear-clad killer, who she thinks is still Benson at this point. Teasing him, she runs into an abandoned shed by the pond, and then while inside the shed, we get the cover of the Arrow, the Arrow cover, And he smashes their hand. Well, the killer smashes their hand through the window and slashes Sheila's throat.
All 4 blades, baby. 4 deep.
4 deep. I think this is probably the most brutal kill.
Agreed. It's vicious, man. There's a lot of blood, and it goes on for they don't cut away from it. It seems to go on for, maybe it's one of those ones, maybe it doesn't actually go on for a while, but because it's so brutal, it seems like it does. But this is definitely my favorite kill in the movie.
And Lynn continues searching for items on the scavenger hunt. And Teddy visits Dawn at her apartment for a scavenger hunt of his own. While them two have sex. Lynn's friend Leslie, played by Lois Robbins, goes to search for an item in the attic of the old chapel, and where she's murdered, and then she's murdered, and her body's discovered by Lynn. The police arrive, find all the bodies, and they're suspicious of Mike and question several of the students, including our dude Ralph Boswick. Ralph Boswick, played by today's other guest, John Didrichsen. This movie, really is an ensemble ensemble. I can't say the word. Ensemble cast.
Ensemble, yeah.
Thank you. There's, still more characters in it that we haven't even got to. There is just a lot of people in this
agree.
movie.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's part because of, even actor Paul Christie said it, they wanted to do a mashup of, Friday the 13th and Animal House, and you'll get into that later with John, but, when you hear that, you're that whole party element there goes. That's why there's a ton of fucking people.
Yeah. Dawn gets into an argument with her boyfriend, who kicks her out of their house after he tells her he knows about her affair with Teddy. Officer McVeigh studies the phone calls placed to the radio station as well as the files and photographs of Dickie Cavanaugh, whose death he becomes aware of by Dickie's doctor. My dude fucking reamed that hospital out for them to be you need to chill the fuck out. He's not even alive.
Right?
He was you need to, you people need to do your job. And they're he's dead.
Yeah, yeah.
So why don't you back the fuck off? While walking home, Dawn senses that somebody is following her and uses a payphone to call Teddy's house, where he's consoling Lynn. It's just he's just hanging out with her, oh yeah, this other girl's in trouble now. The phone call becomes hard to understand, and then we hear Dawn scream, and after that, a voice tells Teddy to come and get her. Lynn calls the police while Teddy flees to the student union to find Lynn. Once there, he finds Dawn's bloody and wounded in the cafeteria. As Teddy's comforting her, he is stabbed by Barney, played by Rutyana Alda, who we also had saw back in the restaurant after the basketball game.
Yep.
And reveals herself as the killer. Officer McVeigh enters the cafeteria and confronts Barney, whom he addresses as Dickie's twin sister, Katie Cavanaugh. Katie, apparently suffering from dissociative identity disorder, responds to McVeigh in alternating voices claiming to be Dickie. After McVeigh tells Katie that Dickie is dead, she reverts and calmly tells him that Dickie's not dead and that she brought him home from the hospital. She opens the freezer display and Dickie's frozen body clothed in a wheelchair with the bear claw hand in his weapon. Bear claw hand in his weapon. The bear claw weapon in his hand. Jesus.
Yeah, man. I just want to say that.
Pie, man.
I just want to say that that was a hell of a twist. I remember watching this movie and thinking oh shit, it's the fucking chick, yeah. That was total. That was, you can kind of see a sleepaway camp.
Yeah,
in there.
I thought that as well.
You know what I mean? But yeah, that was.
You can also kind of see good. Psycho in it.
Yeah, yeah.
Keeping the body.
Yeah, totally.
And as I mentioned, both you and I got this from Arrow Video, which I can't recommend it enough.
Yeah, it looks so clean, man.
In fact, I accidentally bought the fucking European version on accident. I mean, maybe we'll do that as a giveaway in the future or something. But Halloween 3, I'm glad this film's finally getting some shine. Not saying it was viewed in the same way as being a bad movie as Halloween 3, but you know what I mean.
Just kind of forgotten or overlooked, yeah.
The bear costume's great. I love the design of it. Like you said, it has this goofy look to it, but then it's got that sinister bear claw to it.
Yeah.
The kills are good. Everyone, I mean, like I said, it's a huge cast, but everybody plays their specific role like they should. It really should be higher up on the list of all-time great slashers, I feel like. It's just a great movie to just throw on any time. I give it 7.5 out of 10.
I give it a 7.5 out of 10 as well.
Okay.
Being a slasher fan, when you watch this movie, you can see the movies that it borrows from, and the more obvious ones being, like Black Christmas, like the prank calls, and then there's the whole.
Nicole picked up on that, and she said she hates that we've made her watch so many horror movies because that phone call started, and she goes, "Oh, what's this, Black Christmas?"
Right. So there's a Black Christmas. I guess borrowing, as you'd want to call it. And then there's also, the small town party vibe, like My Bloody Valentine. And another Black Christmas nod / borrowing would be that how Holbrook, the cop, suspects the ex-boyfriend, the same as the cops on Black Christmas.
Yeah.
But this movie captures the fun that slashers had back then. The kills were gnarly, and you wanted some of the characters to die, but not all of them.
Yeah.
It's fun, not funny. 7.5 out of 10.
And even the people that you like, when they die, you're not, like, mad. You're like, oh, damn, that was a good kill.
Yeah, yep.
Oh, so I guess now, some burn and learn.
Yeah, let's do it.
Ooh. Burn and learn.
Now let's get into Burn and Learn, the segment of our show where we list off trivia about the movie in discussion. Today, it's Girls Nite Out. This was director Robert Duvall's only feature film.
The trailer was shot years after the movie.
What? Hal Holbrook shot all of his scenes in one day and never interacted with anyone else on screen. If it looks that way, that's the magic of editing.
That's crazy. You didn't even like the scene with his son.
I know, right?
He's like, they're like, you would do a scene with your son. Fuck that.
I got shit to do.
Girls Nite Out was the film debuts of David Holbrook and Julia Montgomery.
Teddy Ratcliffe's costume for the frat party is supposed to be Marlon Brando's character from The Wild One.
The film title for its release in Spain was Creando el Terror, which means creating the terror.
I like it. Girls Night Out was filmed in Uppsala College in New Jersey. All right, well, now let's talk to Lauren and John and go deeper into Girls Night Out.
And today, again with us, we have the awesome Laura Marie Taylor and John Didrichsen from Girls Nite Out. We got to talk to you a little bit about it before, but now we're going to kind of do more of a deep dive into it. So welcome back to High on Horror.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, it's great.
I got to go get my edibles before we get started, but it's a little bit early in the day here in New York.
It's never too early. There's no such thing.
Lauren is not a crime.
It's never too early. There's no such thing.
And Lauren, since the last time we talked, you started your own podcast, the Not the Final Girl podcast with Laura Marie Taylor. What was like the genesis of that?
I just thought it would be fun to have a little podcast called the Not the Final Girl because everybody focuses on the final girls. So I figured by being almost a final girl, you go through the script and you're like, oh crap, I get killed. And so I thought it would be a cool title because that's who I am. I'm not the final girl. So we started with our first guest, which was my Jason, Warrington Gillette. And then we've moved on to other victims. And of course, Felissa Rose from Sleepaway Camp and Terrifier 2 and Catherine Comey. So I've gone into this Sleepaway Camp and I'm venturing into the girls from Nightmare on Elm Street. Of course, we had some of our guys on. And then for the month of October, I had a paranormal investigator on and a movie reviewer, Aaron's Movies. Yeah. So it's been it's evolving for sure. Yeah.
Well, I think it's a really good idea. It's a really fun idea, and I think you're killing it. So good job, and we fully support your project. And anybody listening to this episode should definitely check out Not the Final Girl podcast for sure. Okay.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, and it's also I have links on my website too, which is just my name, LaurenMarieTaylor.com. Yeah.
Okay, well, John, we talked to Lauren last time, and now you're on, so I want to ask you, because I didn't get to ask you last time, I asked her, do you indulge in cannabis?
I'm a nighttime chronic. Yeah, I have a very specific schedule. I eat, I drink a couple glasses of wine, and then I have a couple of hits.
Is smoking your favorite way, or I know Lauren likes the edibles, but is smoking your favorite way?
It is, I think I owe it's something I owe to my ancestors. going back thousands of years, the communal thing, the smoke thing. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
before we talk about Girls Night Out, I wanted to ask you: do either one of you, do you guys have a favorite slasher film?
Uh,
A favorite film?
A favorite slasher
Oh,
film?
mine. Hers is this. Yeah.
I guess The Shining is not a slasher film, right? It doesn't really qualify as a slasher film,
I mean, I could kind of see how it
or does
could.
Specific
it?
genre. No.
Kind of.
No, it doesn't.
There's like an axe murdering sequence in
Yeah, I
it,
mean, there are
but I
some
don't
creepy
know.
things that happen. Yeah. Do you have a favorite?
A slasher film?
Yeah.
Um, well, I remember I did a play once, and I was in Detroit, and it was a really bad time of downtown Detroit, and I had to walk from my hotel to the theater, and it was deserted, and there were two theaters that I passed, movie theaters that I passed, and at one theater, the movie was called The Rats Are Coming, and then the other one was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And so, and I remember going to see that, and at that time in Detroit, and I was affected by that. I really liked that.
That's a pretty good
That
slasher
counts, right?
movie. Do you have you always been a fan of horror movies?
Me?
Oh, you're the one who likes Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like horror thriller type of movies. Like the Catholic horror movies. Like The Exorcist and The Omen and things like that. I mean, I don't know if Silence of the Lambs counts as a. It's not really a slasher, but it's a mixture of a thriller and horror because there is blood and
Yeah.
it's there's cannibal type of thing. And I mean, I like stuff like Midsummer. That's one of my go-tos that I really like a lot. But as a kid, we always watched things like the original Frankenstein. Dating myself here, Dracula's, Godzilla's. Those were our horror movies when we were growing up.
Gotta love the Godzilla nod.
Abbott and
I'm a huge
Costello and the
Godzilla
Haunted
fan.
House. Yeah, aren't those great?
Absolutely, yeah. And
What about you?
yeah.
A horror film, The Exorcist. I mean, I was at the theater in high school when that movie came out, and I'll never forget. I mean, I grew up in southern Ohio, and around a lot of hillbillies. I grew up with a lot of hillbilly friends, and these were pretty tough guys. They throw cue balls at each other, and they were pretty crazy. And we went to the theater, and when she threw up on the priest, you saw about 8 girls running up the aisle. And if that movie was to come out now, would anybody do that? But back then, I mean, it was really the first horror movie. And my hillbilly friends, they wouldn't close their doors. And they kept the lights on in their bedrooms for a week after that movie. There was never a movie that was more effective, I think, as a shocking horror film than that. And it was the first one.
Yeah.
And to me, it's still the most shocking film ever.
What about you guys?
I would have to say that my favorite horror film is the original Halloween, but I'd have to say that I think that The Exorcist is probably the best horror film ever. I think it's the most perfect horror film with music, editing, acting. There's not a flaw about it. So I think in regards to the best horror film of all time, it's The Exorcist. But I would watch Halloween 10 times before I'd watch The Exorcist again.
1978 Halloween's my favorite as well. I mean, I grew up watching the Universal monsters, and then it was Michael, Jason, Freddy, and all that. Yeah, The Exorcist still holds up though. It's still creepy as hell. My fiance's never actually watched it and won't watch it, but Shudder did the 101 scariest movie moments, and they were showing scenes from The Exorcist, and she was like, "Oh my god, that happens in that movie? That really happened?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's pretty messed
They
up."
must show the crucifix scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's just nothing more shocking, especially if you have any kind of religious background. That crucifix scene, there's just, I mean, what movie could beat that? What scene in any horror film can beat that scene? I don't know.
Yeah, I completely agree. That was that movie fucked me up for a whole summer. I snuck downstairs and saw it when my parents were watching it. They had their backs to me, and I watched it without them knowing because I thought, I'm a tough little shit, and I wanted to watch horror movies, and it fucked me up for a whole summer. Like I legit was like, my mom thought she might have to take me to see a shrink. It fucked me up. Like I was looking at shadows on the wall, and I was seeing Reagan's face in shadows. I was like, like it like traumatized me, and I'm not scared of it anymore, but I'll always respect it because I'm like, damn, that no other movie's ever done that to me ever, But John, the last time I spoke to you, you actually said
I mean,
that.
Jaws for me is
I'm
what's
sorry.
scary.
There's a bit of a delay. So.
Yeah, there's a bit of a delay, so we're kind of working around. No, I was going to say Jaws. Made me afraid to go into the water forever. I'm still afraid. I mean, I won't even take a bath. I'm so afraid of shark coming out of the drain.
Yeah, Jaws is a masterpiece too. I was gonna say that John, the last time I spoke with you, you couldn't believe that you couldn't believe that anybody liked Girls Night Out. You couldn't believe that I liked Girls Night Out and that it had fans. And then here it is a year later, you're on our show again, we're about to talk about it, and the fan base came out of the woodwork. The Arrow Video gave it like a boutique treatment Blu-ray. How does that feel?
Oh, it feels great, and I'm always amazed at the sturdiness of the horror film and the fact that it's intergenerational. I've been to a couple of appearances with Lauren, and these 18, 17-year-old kids are coming up with their parents, and you realize that even the parents, maybe their parents turned it on to them, and now they're turning it on to their kids. I mean, they're so lasting, and the fan base is so. I mean, it's just amazing, really amazing.
Yeah, I mean, when I was just up in Canada at a convention, Frightmare in the Falls, and I signed a lot of Girls Night Out DVDs and posters. It was weird because usually, you get the Friday stuff, or I'll get Neighbors stuff, but this is the first time I really did a lot of Girls Night Out signings.
Yeah, and like the movie kind of has like an Animal Animal House meets like a slasher vibe. Did you both feel that was true when you were making the movie?
Yeah, I think that's really what they were going for. I really do. The whole frat house thing and Bluto. Who's the Bluto character?
Yeah, I mean, they were just a bunch of comedians, and then the serious guy, the Halbrook kid.
Yeah.
He was serious. But yeah, those two guys who were always playing off each other, they were very Animal Housey. Yeah, it was very much so. And we filmed it on a college campus, so it's not like it was a made-up frat house. It was really one of those homes.
Right, and
I always thought it was curious that there was a lot of blood, right? A lot of killing, but no cursing and no nudity.
Right.
Was there cursing? Maybe there was.
A little bit.
I think there was a little bit of cursing. Yeah.
Well, Lauren, you barely remembered the movie when I tried to speak with you about it a year ago. Have you recently watched it now that the Blu-ray's out?
Yeah, I did. I watched it, actually. I was surprised. I thought, I remember that with that many scenes. I was surprised at how many scenes I was in. I'm like, oh, wow, look at that. You go, girl. Yeah, it was fun. I mean, the whole opening scene with the basketball court where we were all cheerleaders, Julie Montgomery and the other girls and I were all cheerleaders, and the whole locker room scene. I was like, oh, that's right. I remember that now. Yeah, it was a fun memory. I think we shot it pretty much in sequence of the story, because it opens up, at least for our characters, it opens up with that basketball scene, and that's one of the first scenes we shot. So it was kind of weird how all of our relationships evolved as we shot the movie. We just became chummier as a group, so that by the time we get to the party scene, in the frat house, we're all very chummy already. So that it worked in that way. Yeah. And this guy was so weird. And that whole dancing scene, where you bite some girl's boob or something. I was like, oh my God, I forgot about that.
Well, I was recently at a wedding, and I feel like, Drew, you've seen the videos. I was pulling out some Boswick moves.
You're not going to get any chicks that way, man. I'm telling you.
got one and she's stuck with me, so.
Okay, good.
Well,
That's great. I love to hear that.
So, Lauren, have you noticed an uprise of fans of this movie as of late? Like, are you getting stuff brought up to you more at conventions of Girls Night Out now?
Yeah, definitely. In fact, I usually take pictures with the fans that have the Girls Night Out stuff because, well, back a year ago it was more unusual, but now with the release of, the DVD, the Blu-ray, and the different covers that they have, and because I'm featured on the main cover, which I was like, whoa, that's kind of cool. With my scene with the bear coming through the window. I'm signing a lot of the sleeves for the DVD or the Blu-ray. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, there were a lot of Canadian fans who were digging on this. And where else was I? I was in Pennsylvania a couple of months ago, and again, because of the release of this, they're all coming to the tables. You should come to a convention. You know that?
Yeah. I should.
You should.
It's hard to go. It's hard for both of us to leave the house when we have 2 dogs. That kind of deal.
Well, I would definitely bring my Girls Night Out Blu-ray and get it signed. And I did notice it was you on the cover, but when I watched the movie, those earrings are nowhere to be found.
I know. I know. They wanted me to be dressier, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, I don't even remember wearing earrings. I guess I had little pearls on or something. But that's what threw me off when I first saw the cover. I'm like, I didn't have earrings like that on. But I guess the artist decided to do a rendering, so that was kind of cool. Yeah, and then there's the bear thing. I didn't. You know what? I've forgotten how much blood they used for my kill scene. She's walking through the woods, very Vicky-like. Yeah, that was a lot of blood. I think I may have had 5 of those purple shirts that I was wearing too. For all the blood. Yeah. Bear looks friendly though on the cover.
He does look friendly, but he's not. Now, with the Arrow release, they also have an alternate title card for the Scaremaker. Do you guys prefer the Scaremaker or Girls Night Out?
I kind of like the original. I think it's on this. Yeah, this is on the cover of our script. The original. Let me move it over. The original. It was called Final Clue. I kind of like that. It's got a little bit more air of, I don't know, classiness.
It plays into the whole scavenger hunt thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's the original. See that? So yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. Yeah, the pages, different pages for they have different color pages depending on rewrites, which they give you like that day. So it's kind of cool. It smells old. It smells old.
And when you think about it, the cast. I mean, Lauren had just come off doing Neighbors, and then they had Britannia Alda, who had done
Deer Hunter.
The Deer Hunter.
Yeah.
Hal Holbrook and Richard Bright. I mean, there was actually a cast of people that had really good credits. So it was pretty cool.
And was there more working titles than just those 3?
I think that was it. Final Clue, Scaremaker, Girls Night Out. I think that was it. I'm trying to think.
Did it come out as Scaremaker?
No,
it was Girls Night Out when it was in the theater.
Yeah.
So how did I don't even know the genesis of how it got to Scaremaker.
Yeah, it was called Final Clue, then Scaremaker. Then they changed it to Girls Night Out.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. It's weird. Yeah, I mean, it's weird.
Well, John, I gotta ask you: do you still carry cherry lip balm on you?
I had forgotten that until you guys brought that up. I think we brought it up last time too. No, I don't. I don't.
He did for a really long time, though.
Was that a thing back then?
I think that was my idea.
Was that a thing for people to just offer other people their lip balm?
Yeah. Oh, and we were, I was just a skinny, broke actor, and so I didn't take care of myself very well, and I probably always had chapped lips, and she kind of fell in love with me because of all the food I piled up on my plate. That was good.
Yeah, I was impressed at his ability to eat and stay so skinny. He was skinny. Yeah. But yeah, the
Yeah, I wish
cherry
that
lip balm,
John
he
and
was
I could
really
do
into
that.
that. He did carry it around all the
Yeah.
time. Want some cherry lip balm? Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Well, so Lauren, we didn't cover this last time you were on, but you're a runner. Like, you run marathons, and you used to run like 5 to 8 miles in the mornings. Why didn't you just fucking run from these killers? Why did Jason and this fucking teddy bear get you?
I don't know. I mean, I know I can outrun Warrington Gillette. I've seen him at the gym. Whenever we do these appearances, Lauren, I'm going to go to the gym. You got to come. I just peek and I go, I'm not going to any gym with this dude. No, I mean, John can tell you, right? I mean, I just had a natural ability. I started running when I was doing Friday the 13th because, we're filming at night for the most part. So we had nothing to do during the day. So I started running. And then when I got back to New York and I was living in Brooklyn at the time, I entered a couple of odd races and I was really fast. So track club came up to me and said, hey, do you belong to a track club? And I said, no, I don't. And I wound up becoming a member of the Prospect Park Track Club and being one of their top runners for years.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Nice.
No, Lauren, if she hadn't had a career as an actress and she had actually devoted herself to being a runner, she could have been an elite runner. Like, I'm a real elite runner. She's built for it. She's a gazelle.
Yeah, people used to say that when I ran, I looked like a gazelle because I take long strides. Not so much anymore. Now I'm kind of like, a rabid raccoon. I run like this. I hear my running app go your split pace 9 minutes 30 seconds per mile. I'm like, yeah. Whereas in the past I'd be like a 6 minute miler easily, for the length of a marathon. But now it's like, yay, I'm under 10 minutes per mile now.
We did a couple of marathons together, and she beat me by an hour.
Damn.
Hour.
I think I'd have just given
No,
up at
she
that
was
point.
really. I mean, one year you started right at the front, didn't you?
Yes.
With the leading
Yeah.
runners.
Yeah, I was number 77 in the
Oh,
world.
wow.
And I got to start. Yeah, I got to start with the top. My number was 77, F77, and I got to start with the top 100 women in the entire world. And I was working on the soap opera at the time, and the marathon, New York City Marathon, was carried by ABC TV in New York, and of course that was our crew. Most of them were crew from the soap opera, who moonlight doing the news and whatnot. And I said to one of the guys, Jerry. Wallace was his name. I said, hey, Jerry, I'm going to be up at the front, with the top women, who get to start before the rest of the race. And they're like, oh, yeah, right, Lauren, BS. Yeah, bullshit artist. So it's like, no, really, I look for me. I have number 77 on F77. Yeah, okay. So I get to the top of the Verrazano Narrows Bridge and I see Jerry, with the camera, right? I go, Jerry! No, not Jerry Wallace. That was the guy who was my Jason in Friday the 13th Part 2. Anyway, that's another story. So I'm calling Jerry, the camera guy, Jerry, and I see him go like this. Holy shit. And he pulls the camera from the network, for the network TV and focuses. I go, I told you!
That's awesome. And I think most people are familiar with the fact you guys met on set. Well, was it kind of just an instant connection?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I fell in love with Lauren at an audition for something else. She didn't even know I was there. She came in with this little girl that she was babysitting. And I said, who the hell is that? And I had a girlfriend, but I instantly knew that I loved her right then. And then when we both got, I actually beat Gilbert Gottfried out for this role. And so, I mean, I didn't even know I'd get it in the movie. And then I did, and she did too. And I was just thrilled. I thought, oh my God, I'm actually going to have a second chance with this girl. And then,
he offered me cherry lip balm.
I sat in front of her with a big stack of food, and that was it. And then we were like, then it got kind of mushy and gooey where we were outside, when we weren't filming, and we were picking pine cones.
Yeah, holding hands.
And then I took her to a place where there was a piano, nice grand piano, and I went around and I played her a song, one of the ballads that I had written, and she was all moony over me. So it got kind of really triacly, but it was fun.
What happened to the bear mascot costume? Did either of you get to wear it on set? And do you guys know where it is now?
Did you wear it? Didn't you wear it?
I don't think so.
I thought you did. I thought you goofed around with it once. Like at the frat party scene. I thought you goofed around with it on once.
No.
Oh. No, you know what? They hold on to those things because of reshoots and stuff like that. I'm sure one of the producers has it or somebody has it. Maybe Hal Holbrook's son has it. I don't know. But yeah, they always hold on to the fun stuff. You know, now people just steal things from the sets, you know, like, ooh, that's mine. But yeah, it was a hot thing, though. Anybody who had to wear it was always sweating. Ugh.
Yeah. Talk about stealing stuff from set. I remember recently there was a story about Robert Pattinson when he was making the Batman, and he kept stealing the socks every day. And eventually they wrote him a letter and were like, look, we know you want some of the socks, but do you have to take them every single day?
Why was he stealing socks?
I don't know. I guess he just wanted something from the movie, but maybe the socks were comfy. I don't know.
You just see Robert Pattinson sitting around his apartment at night and smelling. That was from Wednesday. Let me take a Thursday. Oh, it's Thursday. It's weird.
You thought of it. How weird is that?
No, he's stealing socks.
I don't know. I'm getting all hot now. Thinking about it.
Now, with Vicky and Friday Part 2, you said you kind of wanted her to be that all-American girl. Was there anything you wanted to bring to the role of Sheila?
Oh, I just wanted to have fun with that one. You know, like John said, I had just come off of doing Neighbors with John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd. So I was just very lighthearted at the time. I was just kind of floating around in my life. I was, you know, busy doing TV commercials also. And I just felt a little bit above the ground, like I was just kind of like floating. So when, you know, you get the script, of course, you know, already having done a horror movie, I knew I was going to die, obviously. But just, I mean, I had fun doing it. You know, the cheerleading scenes I liked a lot because, you know, Sheila was one of the popular girls, whereas Vicky was kind of on the insecure, dorky side. So Sheila was, you know, the popular cheerleader who had a lot of boyfriends. And it was so opposite of what I was in real life that I just wanted to have fun with it. Yeah.
And now, in addition to Friday the 13th Part 2, you have another horror movie with a line about smoking weed in it.
Is it the new one?
No, not the new one. No, not the new one. Wait, okay. What about you? How did you approach your character?
You know, I mean, we talked about this last time maybe, but Bob Duvall just, for some reason, he decided that I was the next Charlie Chaplin. Like I was this brilliant comedian. You know, just go for it, John. Do what you think. Do what you feel. You're brilliant, dude. So, I mean, I never really got much direction. I just kind of went off being crazy. I was probably stoned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. Probably.
I know. It's so weird.
But the thing about Lauren, I got to say, you know, she comes off to me, especially in Friday the 13th, as more authentic because she comes from 149th and Prospect in the Bronx, man. I mean, she came from a war zone. That's where she grew up. And then you see her with all these other people. You knew there were like a lot of them were from wealthy families or suburbs. And then there's Lauren, and the way she looks, you know, she's got that look, and she's not faking it. I mean, she was really from the hood. So.
Yeah, I get that. I wanted to ask. Everybody involved said that they had a blast making this movie. So I know you guys, your memory is a little fuzzy, but do you guys have like a favorite memory on set besides meeting each other and, you know, hooking up? Do you guys have a favorite memory on set that you remember?
Can I tell a story about somebody smoking pot, or should I not mention other people?
Well, don't name names.
Yeah, you can just
leave
the name out if you want.
I wasn't. Oh, okay. Well, I was in between shoots, between shots. There were a bunch of people in this house, and upstairs, I walked in, and one of the girls who was playing a cheerleader had her head out the window, and she was smoking a joint, and you know, people were throwing stuff at her butt and everything. So that was a memorable moment.
That's pretty awesome.
Spoken like a true stoner.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. All right, so look, John, is Bostwick gonna return, man? Are we gonna see with all these new reboots and sequels and requels? Are we gonna see Girls Nite Out 2, Bostwick? Are we gonna see him coming back kicking ass?
Yeah, Bostwick with the beanie on my head, lying in a hospital bed with an intravenous IV in my arm. Yeah, that was
Cherry lip balm in hand.
Bostwick goes there once.
Bostwick, old man Bostwick. Yeah,
Bostwick becomes a cheerleader.
Bostwick hanging around playground.
Bostwick identifies as a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader.
Bostwick and wrinkle bars.
Oh, man. Ew. You see what I live with?
I think Bostwick would be too traumatized.
Yeah, like lonely guy Bostwick, some old guy, sitting in a park.
Bostwick would be in like a One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest type of scenario.
Yeah, right. In a mental ward with Jack Nicholson.
Wearing a bear costume.
See, I mean, I feel like we've already written the sequel.
We're getting there.
Let's do it.
Yeah,
Come on.
let's take some gummies and write it.
We just want to thank you both again for joining us today to talk about Girls Night Out. It's good to see it finally getting the recognition it's due with the Arrow release, which is amazing. I will say it's just crazy to me, and I want to know like what kind of condition that film was in. That some of it they couldn't restore.
That's true.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, those night scenes. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're pretty dark already.
Yeah.
Dark night scenes, so.
Yeah, they were really dark.
Yeah, but again, we just want to thank you both for coming on to talk about the movie with us.
Oh, thanks for having us, guys.
Yeah, really. Thanks for having me. All right.
And when Girls Night 2 Bostwick's Return comes out, we'll have you on again.
Revenge of the Geeks.
Bostwick with a bomb.
That's awesome. We're doing this. This is a movie. Let's get it going.
Bostwick's
I'm starting writing tonight.
All right. Let us know when you got a draft. Send it over.
All right. Well, thank you guys again.
And go enjoy
Always a
your
pleasure
football,
talking.
John.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
See ya.
Thanks to all the horror hounds and smokers out there for tuning in. Thank you again to Laura Marie Taylor and John Didrichsen for joining us.
Thank you.
Well, we'll have to find a third reason to get them back on the show.
Yeah, for sure.
Make sure to follow us on social media. High on Horror 420 on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook. I think that's all of them.
Yeah.
That's if Twitter's still around. Who knows? People are all leaving. People are coming. Story of life, coming and going. Send us some questions for some PPA at highonhorror420@gmail.com. Check out our website, highonhorror.com. Check out some of the reviews we got posted there and sign up for our newsletter to get the latest episode and guest announcements sent to your inbox. And just stay tuned, and we'll have an announcement for you later in the week about our next episode. Catch you later.
Bye, everybody.